The council said no species could survive that prison. A human walked out. Smiling, the Galactic Council's most secure detention facility floated in the void between star systems, a testament to advanced engineering and calculated cruelty. The Nexus was designed not merely to contain, but to break the spirit of any being unfortunate enough to be imprisoned within its walls. For 3 centuries, no prisoner had ever emerged intact, physically or mentally. Ambassador Zethkar of the Vorthan Collective adjusted his ceremonial robes as he approached the observation deck. The council had unanimously agreed that the human terrorist Marcus Chen deserved the ultimate punishment. Chen had somehow infiltrated their most classified research station and stolen blueprints for weapons that could destabilize entire sectors. When captured, he had shown no remorse, only that peculiar human expression they called a smile. "Impossible," Zethkar muttered, staring at the holographic display. The readings couldn't be correct. Commander Velnox, a battle-scarred Krillian war veteran, stood beside him with all 4 arms crossed. "I've checked the sensors 17 times, Ambassador. The human is not only alive, he appears to be thriving." The Nexus prison was a masterwork of psychological warfare. It subjected inmates to complete sensory isolation for weeks, followed by overwhelming sensory bombardment. The artificial gravity shifted randomly, making it impossible to establish equilibrium. The walls projected the deepest fears of each species directly into their minds while slowly draining their bodies of essential nutrients. "No being has lasted more than 47 cycles, Zethkar said, his voice trembling. The Drakmari warrior went catatonic. The Silithian hive mind fractured into madness. Even the cybernetically enhanced Nexari couldn't adapt. 58 cycles and counting, Velnox reported. The human's vital signs are stable, more than stable. His cortisol levels are actually decreasing." Through the reinforced viewing portal, they could see Marcus Chen sitting cross-legged on the floor of his cell. His prison uniform was torn, but clean somehow. His hair had grown wild, but his eyes remained bright and alert. Most disturbing of all, he was humming. "What is that sound he's making?" Zethkar demanded. "Human music, apparently. Our linguistic databases identify it as something called the Yellow Submarine. He's been cycling through thousands of these songs stored in his memory." The ambassador's mandibles clicked in frustration. "Impossible. The neural suppressors should prevent access to long-term memory. The human brain appears to have workarounds." Chen had indeed found workarounds. When the prison tried to flood his mind with terror, he embraced it, turning his nightmares into elaborate mental movies. When it starved his senses, he populated the darkness with memories so vivid they felt real. He held conversations with deceased friends, replayed every book he'd ever read, and constructed entire architectural marvels in his imagination. When the gravity shifted, Chen learned to flow with it, turning the disorientation into a strange, 3-dimensional dance. He discovered that the nutrient drain could be partially countered by entering meditative states that slowed his metabolism, a technique learned from a Tibetan monk during his youth on Earth. "Sir," Velnox said, his voice strained, "the human has begun decorating." The holographic display zoomed in to show Chen's cell. Using threads pulled from his uniform and trace minerals scraped from the walls, he had woven intricate patterns across the surfaces. Mathematical sequences, artistic mandalas, and what appeared to be a crude but accurate star map covered every available space. "He's mapped the local stellar formations," Velnox continued, using only the quantum fluctuations in the cell's energy field as reference points. "Our scientists confirm his calculations are accurate to within 3 decimal places." Zethkar felt his respiratory sacs constricting. "That's impossible. Those fluctuations are imperceptible to biological senses. Human senses apparently are more adaptable than we assumed." On the display, Chen stood and stretched, then began what could only be described as exercise. He had somehow calculated the exact force needed to work his muscles against the variable gravity, maintaining peak physical condition despite the prison's attempts to weaken him. "He's not just surviving," Zethkar whispered. "He's improving." The Council had designed the Nexus based on their understanding of sentient psychology, the need for social contact, predictable environments, and mental stimulation. They had failed to account for humanity's most distinctive trait, their ability to find meaning and even joy in the most adverse circumstances. Chen had transformed his isolation into introspection, his discomfort into growth, and his imprisonment into an opportunity for unprecedented self-discovery. He had memorized every fluctuation in the walls, every variation in the artificial environment, turning the prison itself into a vast, complex puzzle to be solved. 97 cycles, Velnox announced. Ambassador, the Council must be informed. The human will complete his sentence in 3 cycles. Zethkar's throat pouch deflated. They had intended to make an example of Marcus Chen, to demonstrate the futility of opposing the Galactic Council. Instead, they had created something far more dangerous, proof that humans were truly indomitable. 3 cycles later, the cell door unsealed for the first time in 100 days. Marcus Chen emerged, his eyes bright with intelligence and discovery. His beard was neatly braided, his posture confident. Most unnervingly, he was smiling. "Gentlemen," he said, nodding politely to his captors. "That was fascinating. I've learned quite a lot about your technology and about myself. Thank you for the opportunity." He handed Velnox a small sculpture woven from uniform threads, a perfect replica of a human brain, with every synapse and neural pathway clearly defined. "I figured out how consciousness works," Chen said casually. "Also solved a few problems in quantum mechanics and composed a symphony. Prison time, you know. One has to stay busy." As he walked away, whistling softly, Ambassador Zethkar realized the terrible truth. They hadn't broken Marcus Chen. He had broken them, shattered their understanding of what was possible. The human had done more than survive the unsurvivable. He had thrived, grown, and discovered. Somewhere in the depths of space, the Galactic Council's most feared weapon had just met its match, and learned to smile.